Hello, this is Suneko again with another video regarding learning the hammer. Mostly basics, but learning the hammer for Monster Hunter Rise. Not quite Sunbreak just yet. And today we are going to be focusing more on a few other techniques with hammer that you can use. Our first video we went over the very basics of basic combos and charge and things like that. But we'll be talking a little bit more about other, more, I wouldn't say obscure, but not as commonly used attacks. And we'll also be talking about the Silkbind attacks, as well as strategies and goals for when attacking a monster. So for the sake of this video, we're going to have our pets on wait again. You can find that in your quick bar. They're already on wait, that says go here. Oh, we can play with our pets as well. So cute. And we'll also be talking to the trainer. Right now we have the dummy's head position to low as opposed to high, and wirebug gauge at infinite use, so we don't have to worry about any cooldowns. We also will be modifying a few other things. Right now we're going to have the action at stomp. And we'll turn that off in a bit. So let's start with our basic ideas of strategy, which is what is our goal, or how do we best effectively hit the head of the monster. So monsters will move around a lot, of course, because they're trying to attack you and keep themselves protected. And it's up to you as the hammer to try to find openings of when's the best time to hit the head. And usually we employ sort of a hit and run style, kind of like Greatsword, where we look for opportunities to attack, we get our attack in, and then we kind of roll out of there before we get attacked. With hammer it's a little bit tricky. I consider hammer more of a weapon that's kind of like boxing with the enemy, or at least my idea of boxing, where you're going to be face to face with a monster and you're going to try to be trading blows with it, but you're trying to avoid getting hit yourself while swinging in for openings. So just like this dummy, when it finishes doing its attack, there is a period that it stands still. And this is generally your window of when you want to attack the monster, so that you can effectively hit it without getting hit yourself. It's hard to demonstrate with this dummy because its attack is always going to be in the same spot, so of course I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be over by the head. But this also brings to attention the idea of head positioning of a monster, because as you can see, while it's winding up its attack, it's a little difficult to hit the head with all of your attacks, but once it lands its attack, then you can see there's an opportunity. So with that in mind, you can, while it is attacking, once you learn the monster's attacks, you can prepare your charge at the right time if you want to go in with a charge attack. So that you can hit it effectively. Or as well, when you're attacking and you know another attack's coming up, you know how much time you have to kind of roll away to get away. For now, your hammer probably doesn't have the counter move that it will have in the future. So we'll want to keep in mind when the monster is attacking and when would be a good time to roll out of our attacks. And this takes a while to learn, just learning like the string of your attacks when you know an attack can roll out of it and such like that. And things like that. Stuff that you'll get used to as you play more and more and fight monsters more consistently. So that's the general strategy. Sort of like a hit and run, but you can also stay near the monster while it's attacking. Kind of trade blows for blow with it by not getting hit and then attacking after it is done attacking. So I'm going to put it back on standby, just so that we don't get stomped. A few arbitrary things that hammers can do. Between areas, or between each area on every map, even if it doesn't look like a slope, generally when you're running, there is a slope that you'll start sliding on. And this is mostly to help you travel to the next area faster rather than just walking the whole time if you're not on a dog. But this slide can also be useful for getting into attacks if, let's say, the monster is on the slope. So while you're running on a slope, holding down the R button, you'll start a slide animation. And then if you press B, which is essentially your jump button, or your roll button, that can be a jump button, you'll get into the air. And into the air you can attack with like a normal jump swing. You can also start using a charge, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, and do a swing. Or if you don't, or if you're charging while you're going down a slope, you'll get into the slide animation, and when you let go, you'll do a spinning attack. This is similar to the spinning attack that the Silkbind that you have. So now, a personal note, I do not like these slopes, especially when I'm fighting a monster on them, because sometimes I just want to attack the monster normally with my charge. Once you get stuck in this sliding animation, it's very hard to get out of. You'll either slide all the way down the hill with it, or you'll have to turn around and try to stop sliding, and then it kind of just messes up your flow of what you really want to do. So, from my personal opinion, ideally you don't want to fight on these slopes. As much fun as the spinning attack can seem, it can really get you locked into attacks that you don't want to do. So preferably fight the monster on flat land in the zone rather than between zones where there are slopes, because there will be slopes that surprise you, like, that's really a slope, can't believe that. Now, for jumping and attacking, you can also do this off of rocks. If you're running off of a rock holding down R while going off, you'll do a leap. If you don't hold R, you'll just drop down. And while you leap, you can press X to do an attack. I believe A also works as well. Oh, no, A is the wirebug thing. So yeah, just X to do an attack. Or you can press your charge to get a little more air and to charge up an attack. Now, ideally, when you're hopping off rocks, you would want to do the charge out of this, and that's for a few reasons. For one reason, it gives you extra air time, so that you can get into position the way you want to. The other reason is, after you jump, depending on what direction you're holding with the charge, you can go in that direction. So you can really switch into any direction you want, as long as you press the charge in midair. So you can hop back onto the ledge. It's a little more difficult to do in this game, but in World there was a technique sort of like just hopping on and off a rock over and over again. It was a little smoother in World, which is why we don't really use it in Rise. But yeah, I can just keep hopping onto this rock by changing my direction with the charge attack. And as well, that you don't have to hop onto the rock, I can hop over here, change my direction towards the monster, and swing to try to get the head. This will make it easier to get certain head angles that you wouldn't be able to get just by simply jumping off and swinging. Along with this, which is a little more advanced, the charges still stick with your 3 levels of charge, so the longer that you're in the air charging up, the more levels you'll build. From this height, you can get 2 levels. And just like a normal charge, if you swing out of the charge with X, you'll continue your combo. And then if I get even higher up, infinite wirebugs, I don't have to worry about that. Just fly up here. Of course you can't do this in a hunt, but the higher up you are, you can get a level 3. And then coming out of that, pressing X, you'll get a strong upswing. So you can keep that in mind when you're hunting as well. Now, when you use wirebugs to travel around, you can also utilize the same thing as if you were hopping off this ledge here. So just like we would do the charge attack there, if I have my weapon sheath and I do a wirebug up, I can also charge and change my direction, swing at the monster. If you watch me play often, I'm flying into the monster, getting like a head attack. It might not be the strongest thing, but I'm just trying to do my best to build up that KO on the monster. So yeah, you can use your wirebugs, either a ZL with X to get some air, or ZL with ZR, pick which direction you want to go. And you can get a hit on the monster. Alright, I might save purple charge for another video. I don't remember if I said I was doing that. But now we're just gonna go ahead and talk about your Silkbind skills or your wirebug skills. Now these are skills that each weapon has. They all vary depending on what weapon you use. For hammer, we have our Silkbind, where if we have our weapon out, we hold down ZL and press X. We'll do the Silkbind spinning bludgeon. So just like sliding down that slope, this will get us in the air and doing a spinning attack. And this attack hits the monster multiple times and does a big finisher at the end. Now, just along the lines with all the charging that we can do, with like normal charges on the hammer, we can also do that with this wirebug skill. So if I do the ZL plus X, but then I hold down ZR as if I'm charging my hammer, I will hold in this spot for a long period of time. Again, check the stamina bar as it slowly depletes, and this can get to a level 3. And I believe you get more spins the more you charge it, but definitely at the very end of it, you get a stronger finishing hit. So that's something that you can utilize. You don't have to just press it and let go. You can press it and hold, waiting for a good opportunity. And you can also roll out of it. Now we're gonna go back to the normal amount of wirebugs, so it's not infinite, because I need to check something. We'll go to 3. Yeah, so this skill uses 1 wirebug, and it recovers fairly quickly. I don't remember the exact timing it gives. But keep in mind, if you do start this up, but then decide to roll out of it, you do not get that wirebug back. So even though you can cancel out of it, it still uses up your wirebug, so keep that in mind. And let me go back to... So we're going to put this to infinite, and now we're going to change the action to projectile. So the monster is going to shoot out these water bubbles at us. At a certain point of the game, Master Utsushi tells you about switch skills, which are additional skills that you can have and switch to, and as opposed to certain skills you have. So right now we only have one, which is the spinning bludgeon, and we have an option to change from this to another one called dash breaker. And dash breaker looks like this. We're just gonna avoid that. You press the same input as you normally would for the spinning one, ZL and then X. And then this time we do a sliding attack, which stays on the ground and gets you closer to the monster. And if you press charge into that, it'll automatically take you to level 3 as well. So it doesn't get you in the air, but it does get you close to the monster, just like the other one. You can't really change the direction of it or anything. And just like the spinning bludgeon, if you press it and then hold ZR, you can charge it up, so wait as long as you need to. And then go into like a finisher like that. So what makes this one different compared to the spinning bludgeon is that it also has an extra effect to tank damage. So while that projectile did hit me and did do damage, it didn't knock me back. So if I don't let go, the projectile would knock me back. But during the animation of it, you can go through attacks and then swing through it. So that's a benefit to using this one as opposed to the spinning one. It gets you closer to the monster, you can get through attacks, and this also includes roars, when a monster roars, and get closer to the monster. Keep in mind that the damage that this is doing to me is minimal just because it's a training dummy, but monsters that can do a lot more damage, you will take that damage. So keep that in mind when using that. And because you can hold it as long as you want, it's pretty easy to time. As soon as the attack is close to hitting you, you can just let it go. And you'll be able to get through and then attack the monster. Now we have one more Silkbind attack that they don't really talk to you about. For this, we don't need anything, we'll just put it back on standby. And this is one of the strongest damage attacks that the hammer can do. And this is called... what is it called? It's called Impact Crater. So if you hold down ZL and press A, you'll do a big attack where you swing up with your hammer to do one hit, another hit, and then a big finisher at the bottom for a final hit. This costs 2 wirebugs, so keep in mind, if you only had 2, you do this attack, and then the monster hits you, you won't have any wirebugs to jump out with. So just keep that in mind as well. And because this attack is so long and slow, you generally only want to do this when a monster is knocked down, or if you really know the timing of a monster doing something that you know you're going to hit the head, or wherever you're trying to hit. So as with other things, or all the hammer's other attacks, the charge is incorporated in this attack as well. So if you just do this attack normally, you'll get your normal 3 hits on the monster. If you charge it up to level 2, you'll get an additional hit that is the same amount of damage as your last hit. And if you do this at level 3, you'll get even more damage on the last 2 hits. So ideally, if you have a monster knocked down and you have the time for it, you want to get this to level 3 and then use the Impact Crater to do like the maximum amount of damage. This is definitely your strongest move and you want to take advantage of it when you can. but it does take up a lot of time, so usually you only want to do it when the monster is knocked down and you know that you can land the whole hit. You cannot follow anything up out of it, as far as I can remember. All you can do is roll out of it. So once you're done doing that, roll out of it. It'll save you more time than just waiting for the animation to finish. Okay, so that concludes some of the additional things that the hammer can do. I think I'll do another video talking more about the purple hammer compared to the yellow hammer. But for now, hopefully you can take some information from this one and go bonk some monsters like you have been doing. Alright, so we're going to stop there, and the next time we'll talk more about purple hammer, and if I do get more switch skills, I'll definitely talk about those as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching again, and until next time, take care, bye-bye.